How many times have you found yourself here, lying awake at night, heart heavy after a crushing disappointment, dreams dashed, plans unraveled? We all face these moments of adversity when life doesn't go as expected. Maybe you didn't get into your dream college or land your ideal job. Maybe a relationship collapsed or a business failed in those critical early stages. Maybe an injury stopped you in your tracks or illness derailed long-held goals. The particular setback doesn't matter as much as how it leaves you feeling lost, defeated, like a failure. When our hopes are crushed, it cuts deep. The sting of disappointment and shame of defeat can leave us reeling. In those vulnerable moments, it's easy to believe the voices saying, "That's it, it's over. You're not good enough." After pouring everything we have into a dream, watching it slip away is devastating. The darkness of those valleys can seem endless. But what if, instead of resigning ourselves to defeat, we made a conscious choice to turn our setback into a comeback? What if we refused to let failure beat us and decided to learn from it instead? Could our greatest heartbreaks become our greatest lessons? The truth is, setbacks will inevitably happen. Not everything goes according to plan. That's life. What matters most is how we respond when things go wrong. Do we fall into hopelessness and self-pity? Or do we harness the power of resilience and persistence to propel our comeback? The choice is ours. Today, I want to share stories of individuals who stared down utter devastation and turned it into their greatest triumph. I want to illustrate that inside every setback lies the seed of our comeback, waiting to be unearthed. A comeback fueled not by denial, but by the courage to grow through our falls. If we can tap into this power, we can write the greatest comeback story of our lives. Setbacks and failures. We all face them. They are an inevitable part of the human experience at all stages of life. How many teenagers have agonized over not getting asked to prom or missing the game-winning shot? How many college students have struggled through the despair of getting rejected from their dream school? In our careers, over 50% of new businesses fail within the first 5 years. And studies show that on average, millionaire entrepreneurs failed 3.8 times before succeeding. Michael Jordan, considered the greatest basketball player ever, was actually cut from his high school team. Oprah Winfrey was publicly fired from her first TV reporting job for getting too emotionally invested in stories. Steven Spielberg was rejected from USC's film school not just once, but twice. And the literary masterpiece Gone with the Wind was rejected 38 times before finally getting published. 38 times. Yet today, it has sold over 30 million copies worldwide. The truth is, nobody succeeds all the time. Rejection and failure are woven into the fabric of progress. So whether you didn't land your dream internship or got passed up for a promotion, know you're not alone. Don't let failure or comparison diminish your self-worth. Your setbacks do not define you. Rather, they refine you, shaping your character and steering you onto a new path you may not have imagined. What matters isn't that you got knocked down, but whether you find the courage to get back up. Oprah Winfrey was born into poverty, raised by a single mother, and suffered years of abuse and hardship as a child. She gave birth at age 14, and her baby tragically died soon after. But she pushed forward, landing a job as a news anchor in her early 20s. Then she was abruptly fired and told she was unfit for television. Devastated, she could have given up. Instead, she reinvented herself as a talk show host. And against all odds, she became the queen of talk, building a multi-billion-dollar media empire and becoming one of the most influential women in the world. Oprah turned her pain into purpose and her setbacks into comebacks through relentless resilience. J.K. Rowling was a single mom, broke, depressed, divorced. She dreamed of being an author but faced constant rejection. Her first Harry Potter book was turned down by 12 publishers, but she kept writing. And today, her Harry Potter series has sold over 500 million copies worldwide. J.K. Rowling used adversity as rocket fuel to propel her comeback. Beethoven was a musical prodigy as a young man until the progressive loss of his hearing threatened to end his career prematurely. Facing the prospect of silence and irrelevance, he plunged into despair and considered suicide. But ultimately, he accepted his fate and resolved to write music anyway. Though deaf, He composed his greatest works like the Fifth Symphony by using his imagination and sheer force of will. Despite his physical setback, his legacy as a composer lives on eternally. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years of his life locked in prison for fighting apartheid in South Africa. The cruel conditions would have broken most human spirits. But he endured, and when he emerged, he went on to become South Africa's first black president and dismantle apartheid for good. His comeback led an entire nation to freedom. When I was 25, I was thriving in my marketing career, earning 6 figures at a top firm. My whole identity was tied to achievement and climbing the corporate ladder. Then, I suddenly lost my job when the company downsized. Standing in my apartment with the severance papers, I was shell-shocked. I had never failed at anything before. In the days that followed, I oscillated between panic, shame, and hopelessness. How could I start over now? I felt like damaged goods. Unable to pay my bills, I moved back in with my parents. Retreating into myself, I avoided friends and wallowed in self-pity. I lost my drive, my confidence. But one day, my dad sat me down. He told me how he lost his job at age 40, but it was a blessing in disguise. It gave him the push he needed to open his own business. He said, "This may feel like rock bottom, but it will help you find guts you never knew you had." His words snapped me into focus. I realized I had 2 choices, letting this break me or using it to propel myself to new heights. I chose the latter. Though afraid, I poured my energy into launching an entrepreneurial project I had always dreamed about. It was incredibly hard. I struggled with self-doubt daily, but I kept chipping away, pulling from that inner fortitude my dad saw in me. And incredibly, within 18 months, I built a successful company that merged my passions for marketing and philanthropy. Today, just 5 years after my lowest point, I lead a thriving social enterprise. Was getting laid off incredibly difficult? Absolutely. Did it redefine my purpose? Completely. By turning that setback into a comeback, I built a life more meaningful than my narrow corporate path. I learned to transform the rubble of failure into strong foundations of growth. Without my dad illuminating my inner strength, I don't know if I would have found my way out of the darkness. As he wisely told me, we already have everything within us we need to succeed. Once we embrace this power, setbacks lose their sting and comebacks become possible. When setbacks strike, our first instinct is often to turn inward and keep replaying why things went wrong. Thoughts like, "I'm just not good enough," or "I knew I would fail," overload our minds. We feel powerless in the face of disappointment, but this self-limiting mindset only breeds more negativity and hinders our ability to rebound. The key to sparking a successful comeback is shifting our mindset to one of learning and growth. The healthiest approach is to ask ourselves, what crucial lessons does this setback contain? How can I gain wisdom from this failure to emerge stronger? Reframing the situation as an opportunity to improve rather than a catastrophe is challenging but essential. It's important to give ourselves space to process the emotional impact of the setback. Feeling grief, anger, or sadness are normal responses. Suppressing these emotions can impede our growth, but we must also be wary of letting them cloud our judgment and prevent us from seeing clearly. To break out of a fixed mindset, try techniques like writing in a journal to gain perspective. Seek a supportive community who can provide an outside viewpoint. Develop mindfulness practices to manage difficult emotions as they arise. The key is maintaining awareness of our mental patterns so that we can consciously reshape limiting thought frameworks. Visualization can also be helpful. Envision your comeback story unfolding step by step. Picture yourself demonstrating the persistence necessary to overcome obstacles in your way. Hold tight to this vision even in your darkest moments. Let it anchor you to possibility when doubt is creeping in. Ultimately, enacting a comeback requires tapping into our inner heroic spirit, that part of ourselves that is unbroken, undaunted, and ready to keep fighting no matter what. It rests gently within all of us, awaiting activation. When we need it most, we must have faith in its existence and its power to carry us through. Seek honest feedback. Reflect on what went wrong, but also proactively ask for input from people you trust. Their constructive criticism will illuminate blind spots to improve going forward. but be ready to listen with an open mind and not just focus on self-blame. Get analytical. Study the factors that led to the setback and create a specific plan to strengthen weak areas. Analyze the root causes rationally to chart a new course forward. Meticulous evaluation prevents repeating the same mistakes. Acquire new skills. Identify abilities needed to overcome this challenge that you may currently lack. Seek training through classes, mentors, or books to develop yourself. Comebacks require expanding our skill sets. Change your environment. Sometimes setbacks happen because our surroundings constrain our potential. Don't be afraid to reinvent your habits, network, or work setting if needed to propel your rebound. Learn optimism. Reframe negative self-talk into positive mantras like, "I am improving every day." Focus on progress rather than perfection. Celebrate small wins. Stay hopeful through incremental improvement. Leverage support systems. Share your struggles and turn to family, friends, mentors for encouragement. Other people's belief in us nurtures resilience when our own is wavering. Visualize success. Envision achieving your goal in vivid detail. Let this future vision anchor you during difficult days. Comebacks require first seeing them in your mind's eye. Be patient and persistent. Major comebacks rarely happen overnight. Maintain discipline through small daily actions. Progress compounds gradually over time as skills improve. Find inspiration in others. Look to role models who faced setbacks like yours and overcame them. Derive strength from their stories about the power of persistence. Remember your purpose. Stay centered on your core passion and why you started on this path originally. Your sense of purpose is the heartbeat that keeps you going. Attempting to rebound from failure and isolation can be exponentially harder. Our journey becomes lighter when carried with others. We all need a tribe of encouragers who can lift us up when we are down. So when setbacks strike, resist the urge to retreat inward and disconnect from your community. Instead, bravely share your struggles and ask your network to rally around you. Even if it feels vulnerable, letting people into your pain builds trust and intimacy. And those relationships can provide much-needed hope and strength when your own runs low. Specifically, seek out individuals who bring out your best self, mentors who believe in your potential and remind you of your strengths when self-doubt is taking over, friends who check in regularly and patiently offer feedback, not just empty praise, family who reassure you of their constant love, regardless of your achievements. Receive their support with openness, even when critical. Use their care as a mirror to reflect back your enduring value as a human being, not just based on your success. And remember to offer the same unwavering loyalty to loved ones facing their own adversity. Together, we can lift each other higher than any of us could climb alone. Our community helps us rediscover our inner light when external setbacks threaten to extinguish it. If we rely on and care for each other, we can make it through the darkest storms. When the going gets tough, it can be tempting to lose motivation and give up on our dreams. But comebacks are only possible for those who persist, regardless of obstacles in their path. If we give up, we guarantee defeat. But if we persist, victory remains within reach, as long as we refuse to surrender. Look at innovators like Thomas Edison. He failed over 9,000 times before successfully creating the light bulb. But he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That unrelenting persistence led to one of the most world-changing inventions in modern history. Great athletes like Michael Jordan embraced a mindset of perseverance too. He trained relentlessly, even after devastating losses and injuries, and later said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." When embarking on any worthy endeavor, we must commit to the journey ahead, not just imagine the destination. Understand there will be trials, doubts, reversals, but stay focused on incremental progress, not perfection. Celebrate small wins. Stay patient with yourself and the process. Maintain discipline with daily action. And on days when you want to give up, think of why you started. Reconnect to your core purpose. Let it be the light guiding you through the darkness. Draw strength from those who support you and those you cannot let down. You may not know how, but have faith that with commitment and creativity, a way forward will emerge. Hold tight to the vision of your comeback, even if you cannot yet see the path. If you persist, it will come into focus, one step at a time. The only true failure is allowing setbacks to defeat us. Persist, and they cannot. Comebacks take time, but through unrelenting grit and courage, we will get there. Today, commit to just one small act to propel your progress, and tomorrow, repeat. Again and again, until your comeback is complete. I believe in you. My friends, our setbacks and failures can either break us or strengthen us. The choice is ours. Each of us has the power within to turn adversity into opportunity. What matters is how we respond when life gets hard. Will you have the courage to grow through your falls? Will you turn breakdowns into breakthroughs and discover your inner heroic spirit? I hope the stories we explored today help ignite the comeback you know is possible. Let them inspire you to turn your setbacks into rocket fuel and build a future greater than you can imagine. Believe in your ability to rise up and go create the most brilliant comeback story the world has ever seen. Now onward, your destiny is calling.